Stay tuned for all your sports needs.
You build out of lies and deception, raising your weapon. Every word you speak dripping with venom. You're playing with fire, preparing for war. I'm ready to settle the score. You're sounding the alarm while I'm trying to remain in the calm before the storm.
Wow. What a year. This is your boy. It's Paddy's Paddock. Or Paddy. I've got to say, I'm so relieved we're coming to the end of this year. It's just been an utter nightmare. Started off great. Me and the missus, we got our own place. I finally branched out. Moved up to Warrington, and it was just... It was such an exciting time, you know. I was doing a commute back to and from crew basically, and working as I do. And then, of course, the dreaded bastard that it be, COVID hit. And it stopped everything. It really was a point in time where we all just kind of stopped, didn't we? The world stopped. People, obviously, that are working carried on as usual. We got to learn that, but overall, it was just a fucking mess, wasn't it? It still is a mess. What's going on right now, especially in this country, is just crazy. I hope I never see anything like this for all of us again. I really hope that this is done. But you have to just feel that this is just kind of like the beginning, in some respects. Now, the COVID situation's probably going to end next year. I would like to think so. It'd be done, dusted, vaccines, all this sort of stuff that's going around, but there just seems to be something more happening. I'm not going to go on bordering conspiracy, but it's really odd what is going on. Like, small businesses are going to be closed. There's going to be more unemployment than ever, more poverty than ever. It's just fucked. It's fucked, man, but that's the world we're in. If you are tuning into this, though, as always, thank you. It means the world to me that you're going to take your time out your day to listen to me waffle on about... Well, this one's going to be interesting. It's going to be waffling on about the year in 2020, sporting-wise. What has happened, looking back on some fantastic moments that, in a year of uncertainty, was just such a relief to see that these moments occurred. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try and do this in 2 parts. Now, I'm going to release part 1. When I'm recording this, by the way, it's Christmas Eve. So, you kind of get the gist. I'm going to release part 1 for Boxing Day. And I'm going to release part 2 by, I would say at least, before the 31st. You know, I'd like to think I've done both parts by then. So, part 1, we're just going to discuss sporting events that have kind of changed, people's opinions, made people go, oh, that's amazing. And even shocking moments that have really just surprised us, come out of nowhere. Just, when you think COVID is just completely the most surprising thing in the world, then something happens in sport. Or even in life events, of course. To those that we've lost and to those that are still around, we can all vouch that we love you all and we'll always remember you guys. That's whether you're personal to someone quite afar. I think I need to state that as well. And the other thing I've noticed this year is now I'm going to have my own 50 pence on this matter is mental health. Now I've had my own mental health issues. I've discussed that when I did my blogs, and mental health ranges from anything really. It doesn't have to be just depression, anxiety. People have been born with mental health issues to suffering them at a later stage, whether that be dementia or schizophrenia or Alzheimer's, anything of that nature. The rise that mental health problems have happened, particularly in depression and anxiety and even paranoia to some extent, is truly alarming. And this is kind of where and I've been like this for a few months, and I think a lot of people are like this. This is why I just believe that the world should just go on as it is. Yes, take your safety precautions. I feel if you want to wear a mask, wear one. It's your decision. It's if you feel that's the safest mechanism to stay safe, then do it. But mental health, we as humans don't really look after ourselves, do we, in terms of mentally? I think because we can't see it, we can't put a plaster on it, we just push things to the back of our minds. And I really just want to take this time out just to say that to the people that are suffering or are going through anything, my Twitter DM inbox, or if you're a close friend, please just text me. I'm here, and I will take the time out of my day to check in on you. That said, I think there's been a more emphasis this year that we have to be happy or try and find happiness. Some days we don't have to be happy. I think there's a misconception that people have to be happy. There's going to be days where you're not. But the one thing I would say is, and it's easier said than done when you've done counselling and psychotherapy like I've done, it's a lot easier. You learn things to coping mechanisms would be the right phrase. I just feel that just allow yourself to have, to be in that moment where you are having a bad day and just go, do you know what? Compare it to situations where you've truly had, hardship. Don't compare it to other people. Compare yourself to yourself in terms of, right, when have I had hardship? And look back on them moments and go, is it that bad? And if it is, seek help. Just please do. There's loads of ways to seek help. It's not just a case of, ringing your doctor. You can actually go. Samaritans, I've used them many a time. I truly do recommend them. They've been there for me in times of struggle. If you can find a counsellor, great. Or just better yet, speak to your mates, speak to your family. Just reach out. Talking does really help. I know people say it's such a cliche thing, but it really does help. And I think this year it's just proven that mental health we're so far back. We're not advanced in this topic. We're really not. Because I think majority of humans, even myself included at times, we can be stubborn. We can be just completely out of touch with ourselves, out of mind almost. And sometimes and again, like I say, it's easier said than done. Just take a step back, just reevaluate stuff, give your time that reflection time. It can be going for a walk, listening to music. It doesn't, you find your own way of coping in terms of certain things and trying to keep busy. But as long as you're giving yourself that reflection, then that's the main thing. And I had to start on that because just seeing the statistics of suicide rates and admissions in terms of mental health is just so scary to me that yes, the virus is going on, but I think this needs to be looked at more. And it's a subject that's always been spoken about within the media, but nothing's ever truly done, is it? It's never really, there's no emphasis on pushing mental health services. I think when I went through the NHS, this is no fault of the NHS, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But, I'm opening up, and I was feeling suicidal a few years back, and I remember being on that phone call, and I literally got, can you wait 36 weeks? 36 weeks just to be admitted to a counsellor through the NHS. And that proved to me, I was like, do you know what? I'm just easy just to pay money to a private counsellor and do it that way. But obviously that was at that point, and hindsight's a wonderful thing. I just hope that one day that is truly looked at, and if there's private investment or something in that field, then we need to take advantage of it, because it's so, I said out of touch before, but I think that's the only thing I can use. I think it's the only phrase I can sum it up. It is out of touch in terms of every aspect, in terms of mental health. So, yeah, if you are, though, struggling and you need kind of like immediate conversation, or someone to speak to, I am here, and I'm sure you guys will help out other people as well. Just reach out to people. I think it's easy to speak to strangers sometimes on the internet. It's because to me, you learn different characters, you learn different traits and all that sort of thing, and it's fascinating to me that people have gone through their own experiences. We can all relate in that respect, and that's what I find amazing. And my one positive outlook from this year is there are people that have come together, and I think that isn't spoken about enough. But there is still a lot of bad in the world, and there's a lot of uncertainty going forward. But the one thing that I always find comfort in is, and I'm now learning that speaking about sport is definitely my distraction. And them few months that we didn't have sport, my God, I was going stir crazy. I think I drove the missus mad. But let's go back further. Let's go back to January, when all was, barring China obviously, all was good for the majority of the world. And the things that I've picked out here were in January. There was two moments for me, and the first one would be the racing. And it's not really so much of the race that this horse ran, but seeing Boum Photo rock up at Tremor on New Year's Day and win the Savills New Year's Day chase at Tremor, spring-heeled, was truly magnificent. And you could clearly see that this horse was going to cement himself further, which he does in March. He went on to become a two-time, back-to-back Gold Cup winner. I got to see him live in 2019. I was there at the Gold Cup, and amazing scenes, beautiful scenes of glorious emotion, as a certain YouTuber would say. And the way he did it that day was marvellous, and the way he did it again this year in the Gold Cup was just simply sublime. And he's a horse that clearly doesn't get talked about enough. I think he's underrated in that respect. I think people have a conception that this horse should be never really spoken about, but to do what he's done, back-to-back winner at the Gold Cup, amazing. When I got to see him beat Annabelle Fly and Bristol the Mai, and one of my favourite performances in Native River, just because even though he lost that day, he was so pluggy, and it was beautiful to see the way he jumped. That horse could be a puissance horse. I think I mentioned that on Cheltenham's YouTube channel. But seeing Boum Photo go away and stay on in the Gold Cup, and he did it again this year, he is a horse that will be spoken about in 20, 30 years and so on. And he should be. He deserves that. He's a fantastic horse, and to do what he's done, it's wonders for the sport, but it doesn't get spoken about enough. But I go back to that race at Tremor, and yeah, it wasn't the greatest field, sure, but I think it was the manner in how he did it. He did it in what I would describe as spring-heeled. He jumped them fences really well. I think there was two fences where he didn't at the start, but first race back, we allow that, and he still went over them with ease, really, even though it looked like he was in danger. I think it was the 11th fence off the top of my head. I watched it back yesterday, and yeah, I've grown to like the horse. There was a lot of times where I was just kind of dismissive of the horse, and I think because of the Willie Mullins factor in the Gold Cup and so on. But take that aside, you look back and you go, do you know what? He's the perfect example